In this video, we're going to look at how we can divide decimals by other decimals. Our intentions today are to learn how to divide decimals by whole numbers and then decimals by other decimals. We will know we can do those, of course, when we can divide decimals by whole numbers and divide decimals by other decimals. Our key ideas today: firstly, we'll look at how we divide decimals by a whole number. So when we do that, we complete the division just like we would complete any other division. The main thing is that we keep the decimal point directly lined up with the decimal point in the question. So the decimal point in the answer directly with the decimal point in the question. An example, 60.524 divided by 4. So we set up our equation as normal. Now, what I like to do is put my decimal point directly in before I even work out the answer. And now we just go ahead and do our division, pretending the decimal's not there. So 4 into 6 goes once, and we carry across 2. 4 into 20 goes 5 times. 4 into 5 goes once, carrying 1 across. 4 into 12 goes 3 times, and 4 into 4 goes once. Our answer at the end becomes 15.131. The next idea to look at is what we do when we divide a decimal by another decimal. So the first thing is we want to change our divisor, the number we're going to divide by, into a whole number. We do that by moving the decimal place to make it into a whole number, and therefore we have to do the same movement or the same change to the part that is going to be divided. So for example, 24.562 divided by 0.02. So we want to change the 0.02 into a whole number, so we're going to move the decimal place 2 places to the right. If we're going to move that 2 places to the right, we have to move the decimal place on the other side of the equation to balance it out. So we end up with the equation of 2456.2 divided by 2. Now they are equivalent equations, so we can use the equal sign. And now that the division is by a whole number, we know how to do that. So we set up our equation as before. Again, I like to put my decimal point straight in. And now we just do our division. So 2 into 2, of course, goes once. 2 into 4 goes twice. 2 into 5 goes 2 times, carrying 1 across. 2 into 16 goes 8 times, and then 2 into 2 goes once. So we end up with our final answer of 1228.1. The last idea we want to look at is what do we do when we are dividing by a multiple of 10. So when we are dividing by multiples of 10, we can basically ignore the zeros in the divisor and then put them back in at the end. So it's a little bit like what we've seen earlier on. What I'd like to say though is it's better to actually set your equation up a little bit more accurately. So here is an example, 67.04 divided by 8,000. So strictly speaking, we can ignore the 3 zeros and then put them back later on. But it's better to set the equation up in a more appropriate way. So really what we can say is 67.04 divided by 8 and then divided by another 1,000 and again. So the 8 and the 1,000 become the 8,000 altogether. And that's just a better way to show it mathematically. So what we can do now is work out our brackets, and because the brackets already have it being divided by a whole number, we know how to go ahead with that. So we set up our equation. Again, put the decimal point straight in, and then do the equation like normal. So 8 into 6 doesn't go to anything, so we carry the 6 across. 8 eighths are 64, so that means we've got 3 to carry across. 8 into 30, well 3 eighths are 24, so that goes there, and we carry across 6. And as we've already remembered, 8 eighths are 64, so that's the answer there. So we bring our answer back to replace our bracket, so we have 8.38 from before, now divided by another 1,000. And we hopefully remember from a much earlier section when we are dividing by powers of 10, not to be confused with these multiples of 10, but powers of 10, we can simply do that by moving the decimal place to the left by the number of zeros that we have. So we're going to move the decimal point from 8.38 3 places to the left. So we're going to obviously have to add a few extra zeros in. So we'll end up with this answer, 0.00830. Our decimal point was here before, so it was 8.38. We've moved 3 spots to the left, so we've gone 1, 2, 3, and we've ended up in this spot here. So this is really combining lots of ideas that we know about decimals, how we can move the decimal place for powers of 10, how we can divide, and how we can do multiples. Okay, so here are the questions that you need to complete. As usual, you can go ahead and try and complete them first. You can come back to these video examples and have a go if you need to, or for a bit of revision. But I do suggest having a go at the question yourself and then just using these examples if you need the assistance. So question 2 asks you simply to calculate. They're being divided by whole numbers, so it should be fairly straightforward. So for the first one, we have 8.4 dividing it by 2. Again, I like to put my decimal point straight in. So 2 into 8 goes 4 times, and 2 into 4 goes 2 times. So that's a pretty straightforward one. The second one, again, it's dividing by a whole number, so we should just be able to do it the same way. So 3.417 dividing by 5. 5 into 3, of course, doesn't go. We're going to put a 0 here because we know we're going to need that for the decimal point, which I should have already put in. So we carry the 3 across. 5 into 34, well, 5 times 7 is 35, so it's not going to be that, so it's going to have to be 6. So 6 5s are 30, so it's going to bring the 4 across. Now, 5 into 40, well, that's going to be 8, bringing 1 more across. And 5s into 17 goes 3 times. That's 15, though, so we've got 2 more. Now, we are going to carry the 2 across, but here's where we have to just think for a second. Because don't forget, we can have as many zeros as we want after a number. So we could have an infinite number of zeros. So let's put the 0 in. So let's pretend the 0 was there. So when we look at it, we're now saying 5 into 20. Don't get confused. Don't think you're saying 5 into 2. You're saying 5 into 20 because this 0 does exist. We just don't normally show it. So 5 into 20, of course, goes 4 times. And now we've got nothing left over. We've got no remainder. Okay, so that equation or that step is something that some of you might get caught up on. Don't forget the zeros do exist all the way infinity to the right hand side. So if you got to that point, put a 0 and see if that helps you. Right? If it still didn't work, we had to carry again. You put another 0 and whatever you're carrying across. Question 3 says to do some more calculations, but this time we're going to be dividing by decimals as well. So this is the second key idea we looked at, which is turning these decimals, the dividing decimal, into a whole number. So for the first example, we're going to have to move it 1 spot to make it into a 2. So we're going to move this 1 spot as well. So what we end up with is 61.4 divided by 2. So we've moved the decimal point on both sides of it by 1 spot. So 2 into 6 goes 3 times. 2 into 1 goes nothing. There's my decimal point, but we've carried the 1 across, and 2 into 14 goes 7. So there's my answer. For the second one, we're going to move 1, 2, 3 times. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3 times here as well. So we're going to have, we don't need to show the 0, so we're just going to go 399.6. There's no point showing the 0 at the front. Divided by 9 in this case, because we've moved it across. So 9 into 3, sorry, decimal point. 9 into 3 is not going to go, so we carry the 3 across. 9 into 39. Well, 9 fours would be 36. We can't go any higher, so let's go 4. And 36 from 9 is going to leave us with 3 more. So same thing, it's going to be 9 into 39 this way, so we know that's 4, bring 3 more across, and 9's into 36, well, we already know that again, that's our 4 one more time, with nothing left over, so there is our answer, 44.4. Question 5, this time we're dividing by whole numbers, but they are multiples of 10, okay? So I'm going to first of all rewrite my equation to be equal to 236.14 divided by 2, put that in brackets, and then divide by 100. Remembering this divide by 2 and this divide by 100 are the same as saying the divide by 200. So now if I look at what's in my brackets, this is an equation I can do. So 236.14 dividing by 2. Put my decimal point straight in so I don't forget it. 2 into 2 goes 1, 2 into 3 goes 1, carrying 1 more across. 2 into 16 goes 8, 2 into 1 again doesn't go, so it's a 0, and we bring the 1 across. 2 into 14 goes 7. So my bracket is equal to 118.07. Oops, don't need the bracket anymore. And now this is divided by 100. And we know that to divide by 100, because this is now a power of 10, not a multiple, but a power of 10, we can just move it 2 spaces, because it's 2 zeros, to the left. So it's going to go 1, 2. So our final answer is going to be 1.1807. Here we have, again, another one that is a multiple of 10. So let's rewrite the equation first. 482.435 divided by 5 into brackets, and then divide it again by 1,000 because we've got 3 zeros there. This again is in a way that we can do it because it's a whole number for the divisor. So we're going to go 482.435 dividing it by 5. So 5 into 4 is going to go no times, carrying the 4 across. 5 into 48, well, that's going to be, 9, will give us 45, so we carry 3 more across. 5 into 32 is going to go 6, which is going to give us 2 more. Whoops, I forgot to put my decimal point in. So carry our 2 across. 5 into 24 is going to be 4, carrying 4 across. 5 into 43 is going to be 8, carrying 3 across. And 5 into 35 is 7. So let's replace our brackets and rewrite. So our answer is 96.487 divided by 1,000. Okay, so because this is a power of 10, we can move 3 decimal places because we've got 3 zeros. So we haven't got enough space. Let's put a few zeros in the front here just in case. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. So it's going to go there. So our answer is now going to be 0.096487. I suggest you check that on the calculator, but it should be right. Question 6, it says to calculate the following and then round the answers to 2 decimal places. So we can obviously expect our answers to probably be more than 2 decimal places when we work them out, and then we have to do some rounding. Also note there are some values in here, kilograms and litres. So we have to make sure our final answers contain those. Now, if we look at our first equation, if we ignore the kilograms for now, because that's just the unit of measurement, we have a decimal divided by a whole number, so we should know how to do that. We'll have 35.5 divided by 3. So 3 into 3, of course, goes 1 time. 3 into 5 goes 1 time. There's our decimal point carrying the 2 across. And 3 into 25, or 7 3s are 21. So we'll put a 7 there, and that's going to carry across 4. Now remember, technically there's a 0 here. So now we've got 3 into 40. 3 into 40 is actually 13. 13 is going to give us 1 more over here, so which technically is a 10. Now 3 into 10 is going to go 3 times, which is 9, giving us 1 more, which technically is a 0. 3 into 10 again is going to be 3, leaving us 1 more and a 0. What you're hopefully going to realise is that we've got this repeating pattern here. And if you were to put this in a calculator, 35.5 divided by 3, you will get 11.71333, as many 3s as your calculator can provide you, which is why we now need to round this off to 2 decimal places. Okay, so really this is 3 continuous. Okay, so if we look at our answer, 11.7133333, if we want to round to 2 decimal places, remember we're rounding to this number, which makes this one here our critical digit. It's a 3, so we round down, so that just becomes 0, 0, 0, etc. So really our answer ends up being approximately equal to 11.71. and that's rounded to 2 decimal places. We still need one more thing, and that is to put the kilogram unit back on that we had from the question. In our second example, we have another division, this time by an actual decimal, so we have to turn that into a whole number first. So we're going to have that moving across one spot, so we'll have this moving across one spot as well. So we'll have 0.23, divide that by 5. So 5 into 4, of course, doesn't go, so we carry the 4 across there. 5 times 9 is 45, so it brings 3 across. 5 6s are 30. Sorry, that goes there, and that would leave us 2 more. 5 into 25, of course, goes 5 times. There's my decimal point. Make sure I keep it lined up. 5 into 2 does not go, so put a 0. 5 into 23, because we carried it, of course, is 4, leaving 3. Put the 0, don't forget. 5 into 30 is 6. So we get a cleaner answer this time, but we still have been asked to round it to 2 decimal places. So what we're going to have is, here is the number we're rounding to, so that makes the 6 our critical digit. It's a 6, that means we round up, so this 4 is going to become a 5. So we're going to say it's equal to approximately, better approximate, 965.05. Okay, and don't forget we have L for litres, so we have to put that back into the question as well. So the first one looked really easy, but we had to realise that we're going to end up with this continuous happening. And that's a little bit tricky. That's a little bit of a tough one to get your head around sometimes. The second one was the one that looked more complicated, but is actually easier than we thought. Okay, again, just take your time, go through the steps, and you should be able to get it. And that's it for today. So thanks for watching these. As always, watch the instructions again, the key ideas, watch the examples, and then go back over the question samples if you need them, but have a go at the questions yourself. Thanks very much.